Alright, time for another DraftScience video presentation. And I will try to keep science in the video, even though it's a comment video of comments on the other character's video. I glanced at these comments, first loaded them the regular way, sorted by whatever YouTube's retarded preference, whatever a top comment is. Anyway, and the Farley comment comes up where he says his accusation against me is that I deny free will. I mean, so you people really are just Leibnizian religious kooks, right? I mean, denying free will, I think of just about every single talking head that I've ever heard on physics says there's no free will. I mean, Sean Carroll, deGrasse Tyson, we could go down the list. And I don't think there's any. Can you show me one of the talking head physicists who thinks there's such a notion as a free will, whatever the hell that would be anyway? I mean, a will unrestrained by your knowledge, a will unrestrained by logic, a will unrestrained by, unrestrained. How can you have a free will anyway? Where would the free come from? Where does the notions come from? The free notions. It's just, it's almost so stupid. I mean, to have to even argue with people like this. So that's part of the fun, is that, Stephen Bro and the rest of these people, what's the other guy's name? Steve Garvey or something. They sit there and pretend I'm some evil character and call me all kinds of names, that I'm some sort of anti-person when I've been quite clear about how evil racism is and all of these things. And the character they're playing with is exactly the opposite. He is the person they should be afraid of, which is just kind of hilarious. Because he thinks all of those people, those people, they have the freedom, and they've decided not to exercise their freedom to be like him, decent and nice and friendly. Yeah. So he thinks that the problems in the world are been caused by free will. That people have willed to be assholes. No, they've just made dumb choices. Ignorance is the problem, and you people are sitting here overtly fighting in the cause of keeping people ignorant, which is just kind of ironic. And you're doing it with a weapon, a soldier who's overtly a spy, overtly playing games with you. And this Richie guy, like I said, is probably Farley, which is just so ironic. So I haven't read any of these comments, so we'll see what we get. Almost relieved to say Draft has blocked me at last. So you're proud of it, that you were obnoxiously stupid enough times that somebody had to block you, and you're proud of that. And again, let's understand, I made video after video explaining a simple paradox. The paradox is free energy. The paradox is I'm going to pull a rabbit out of my finger. Okay? I'm going to do an experiment where I pull a rabbit out of my finger. And you're going to say, I know you didn't do that. Okay, it might look like you did that, but I know you can't do that. And so the paradox is just obvious in the sense I've pointed it out. You put 100 momentums in, and you get 116 out. There's no denying that's magic. That whatever that is, okay, if you don't have to put any money in to make it do that, it just makes money. You put $1 in, it gives you $1.16 out. We all know that machine can't exist because, frankly, we'd all have one. And so you're telling me you can't understand. And I'm supposed to believe you can't understand how that would be a paradox. Okay. Anyway, so he posts a link to it. So he, somehow he thinks he comes off looking good. By belligerently saying something that's just too stupid. You don't understand how it's free energy is paradoxical. Okay. Well, anyway. The part that you would find relevant, oh, like any of it, you know, so he links to something he doesn't think is terribly relevant, can be found by skipping directly to the 1438 mark of the above video, while apparently conceding. I didn't concede anything, so that's just absolute nonsense. You didn't change the playback speed. So I didn't concede it because nobody made an argument, okay? So all I heard was, you know, I made the statement just because, again, we're back to 0. So this Brozo loony, okay, right from the very start, his experiments were, by your own concession, confusing. Okay, he did experiments where he didn't explain what he was doing. Okay, he just showed some image of things bouncing around and said, here, you figure out what I did. Right? You conceded those experiments were confusing. And we're right back to that again. Okay, so instead of all the, you know, in spite of all the complaints that his experiments are undetailed and there's no background information to, you know, ascertain anything. He's got veils and screens up, okay, and all he's showing is finger, and then he shows rabbit. And we don't get to see anything, okay? And we're back to that. So he does a 1-minute video, okay, proving some kind of scientific theory, okay, with little streaks of light that go flying by. And it was my job to sit there and dissect it and say, well, what the hell is this? And so I did notice that the speeds seemed less than what they're supposed to be, but they really weren't. So again, the dissection requires a little bit of thought. So this is the physics part, and the part you just keep ignoring. So let's say we were doing this. We were taking a 10-ton train, okay, and we put a generator on the wheel, and we take a 5-ton train, and we put a generator on the wheel, and this one has twice 2x the velocity, okay. So it has 10 velocity, this one has 5 velocity. All right, so what's going to happen in, say, the first second of the process? Well, the generator on the fast train is going to spin twice as fast. The wheel's rotating twice as fast. The generator spins twice as fast. It makes twice as much counter force in the form of you can't generate electricity without the magnetic fields being in conflict with each other, and that conflict is essentially a friction, and it's through the process of that transfer. That's how the energy is transferred from one object to the other object, is in the manifestation of the sympathetic field. It's an absorption of the energy. And so, where the hell is that thing blinking? Oh, that's right, the town sent another stupid message about the flood. Anyway, all right, so this one's going to encounter a lot more braking. So as I pointed out, okay, if we just think of it as pins, okay, that it's going to hit, in the first second it's going to lose, you know, 1/2 of its energy, you know, in the first second. This one will only lose 1/4. So they both start with the same 100. Let's just call it 100 for the sake of round numbers. And now this one's down to 50. So this one is slowed down by half. It only has 50 momentums left. This one still has 75 at this point. All right, now their speeds are a little bit closer because this one lost half its energy. That means we have to take it out of its velocity. And you have to take it out of its velocity, realizing you can't take it out of its mass. So this is down to 5 because it lost half its energy. So it's only going 5 now. You know, its velocity is down to 5. And this one started at 5, and so now it's at, you know, it loses 1/4. So it's now down to, say, 3.5 or something like that. So they're getting closer and closer is the point. And then the next second, the same thing's going to happen. This one's going to lose more than this one. So this one's always losing more of its energy quicker. So yes, by the halfway point, they're going to look like they're going the same speed. Something like that. So yeah, so my initial claim, my initial dissection, right, my initial detective work, okay, was to blame the butler. But, oh, I found out the butler has a brother. And I said, oh, yeah, that's right. Let's do it this way instead. This is why the speeds look the same. And so what we would find is that the distance they travel, if you're going to use pure logic and all that matters is how far does it go, you're going to say that the 5-ton train doesn't have much energy because it's not going to go twice as far, because it's going to lose its energy twice as fast. And that's just a fact. And that's why this one was able to light the light bulbs, is because it lost more energy more quickly. This one lost its energy at a much lower voltage, you could say. So this one, the peak voltage was, say, 0.5, and this one would have the peak voltage as 1 volt, that kind of thing. So these are just, that's physics, you see. But you don't want to do any of that. All right. Okay, and so he goes on to ask, how far did the cars go? So that is the important question. Because clearly, by my theory, it's clear that the faster car didn't go twice as fast because it lost its energy twice as fast. It's not the same. It's, when they make the car example, they're using the same braking mechanism, and they're pretending the brakes on the twice as fast car are exactly the same amount of energy being pulled out as the brakes on the slower car. Even though that's not really true. It isn't. The brakes on the faster car will get hotter and they will do more work and the car will slow down more. So they never do these proofs. They never, we're not going to see ever the experiment where they use 4 times more gasoline to go 60 miles an hour than they used to go 30. We're never going to see that experiment. Did it go twice as far in terms of distance? Draft claims it didn't go anywhere near twice as far. Yeah, that would actually might be in the opposite. The slow train might go actually further because it's just reliably giving away its energy, and it's the turtle and the hare kind of argument, I suppose. I don't know. It's probably a bad analogy because obviously rabbits run faster than turtles, so they always win. Okay, can't reply right now. So he always has a story. He always playing a game, like right now on the internet. In a comment section, like there's some sort of right now, like this is some sort of chat board where everybody's live talking. It's a comment section. No one's actively having a conversation. I mean, it's not chat. Anyway, right now, if someone needs to borrow my monitor for DJ gig, someone, yes, the anonymous DJ gigger. But just to say nothing Gary says means anything really. But just to say nothing Gary says means anything really. So he does the experiment where we have no details, and then he claims anybody who criticizes or tries to point out what the hell actually happened in the experiment, they don't know anything. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. He just says whatever suits him at the moment. So that's all I do, right? Is just say what suits me at the moment when all I'm arguing is actual physics details. So again, I mean, he'll never respond to a single counter argument made. He'll never respond to Professor Lewin's statement that you must conserve momentum. He'll never actually explain anything. He'll never explain how Physics Girl was right to say you can 100% transfer the momentum. That says all of the MV went into the other object. And yet, you moved other things. You created heat, and you created sound, and you created all kinds of other things. But you yourself didn't lose any of your momentum. He'll never explain how that could possibly be possible, how that's not a paradox. Okay. It's all just a huge distraction. Yes, so he thinks actually talking about these specific physics issues is a distraction because the real point of his video is to, in some way, say, he has funny hair, or something like that, even though it really shouldn't be a mockable fact that I actually have hair on my head instead of my ass. See, all of the monkeys, all of the other monkeys, they have hairy asses, okay, and bald heads, and I have it the other way around. Okay, some kind of weird game he plays. So again, just more, wow, that's really insightful. Thanks for that great argument in defense of your experiment. So it's time to type these accusations but he doesn't have time to answer a yes or no question. Or it's almost a yes or no question, right? How far did the cars go? It takes a sentence. Oh, they went the same distance. Yeah, the faster car went twice as far. Nothing. Not even close to answering the question. So it's impossible to gauge him. So this is part of answering the simple question. Is this mush? Okay, that's the entire point. So it's impossible to engage a video that has been recorded and is on the internet. And you can watch it as many times as you want. You can do anything you want. You can do it anytime you want. There's no rush, no urgency, no nothing. All you have to do is play the video and respond to it. And he says that's impossible. It's impossible to engage him. I made arguments. You could engage the arguments I made. Instead, you look for the points where I say something like, kinetic energy is always conserved, where I meant to say momentum was always conserved. Instead, you're just going to find my mistakes, the little mistakes here and there, and you're going to emphasize those, and you're not going to pay any attention to the arguments actually being made. Do you understand that the generator on the faster train or car, that it would in fact take more of the momentum of the object the faster it has to spin? The faster the motor spins, the more energy it's going to pull out of the object. Do you understand that principle? You're some sort of electrician, right? I mean, you should kind of understand how that works with generators and motors. All right, that's the entire point. So to him, the entire point is it's impossible to respond to videos that are up for, 10 years. Yeah, impossible to respond. Okay, I think like trying to swat a fly in a cathedral. So, how so? The videos are really easy to find. They're right there. You play it, hit the play button and respond. Coward. May I add later when I'm less hurried? Add what? Oh, the answer to the question that was really simple. Yes, getting blocked is a relief. Okay, let's see if one of these comments actually has the answer to the question. All right, just out of curiosity, well, I guess it can't because these are going to be older than the one where the question was asked. No, it has to be. I don't know which one is the newer comment. I guess the one on the top is the newest. No, it's one at the bottom would be the newest. Okay, so we'll see if there's an answer. Just out of curiosity, so now he's going to ask a question. So now he has time, I guess. I don't know, he got his monitor back. Regarding the two quotes about one car not traveling twice as far. So this is Stephen. Do you yourself already know the reason for this, or perhaps have a bit of a inkling? So bro never gives us any theory. He never explains any part of physics ever. He never deals with Professor Lewin's statements, okay, the overt ones. So what is this? All of a sudden he cares about a theory? Interesting. It's okay if you don't know. There's no particular reason you should, seeing as you haven't professed to know that much about physics. So again, what good is a mediator who doesn't know anything about physics? That's pretty useless, right? So yeah, let's just forget it. The physics involved here. I don't think I'm only curious whether you already kind of know. So he's playing some kind of trick game with him. So instead of just answering his question, now he's challenging his intelligence and saying, well, why would you ask me such an ignorant question? I mean, it's just so ironic. Or feel like you can, let's see, probably guess why Gary's making a fool of himself or to even raise this point. So it's foolish to raise a point. So again, he provides a 1-minute video with one image of 2 streaks of light, claiming he has now proven, okay, that there's no such thing as conservation of kinetic energy and all of that crap. And this is, he expects there to be no reaction except, oh yes, I totally agree. That's what happened. I can't see any of it happening, but I'm sure that's what happened. Exactly what you told me is what happened. Anyway, there's no reason you personally should know, but there is every reason why Gary should. So I'll just say, I've already explained this fact about the generator pushing more torque against motion the faster you try to move it. So I've already explained that way previous, like 2 weeks ago at least. It was back in the bowling ball argument time and the whole thing, so I've already well explained that if we did the experiment, there would be more torque on the faster moving car. Seeing as he professed to be expertise in all these matters. So I never even bothered to point out how much of an expert I am, so this is another lie. I'm not professing expertise. If I was professing expertise, I'd be doing something silly like you saying, I'm a great experimentalist, I can do experiments perfect. When you can't, because you're a Dunning-Kruger loony. Okay, anyway, I would like to explain right now. Oh, but he can't again. But if you don't indeed know, I wouldn't spoil it a bit if I or someone else explains before you have a chance to say. So what kind of word game is this? He asks a simple question, he's getting this crap as an answer. And this asshole is surprised I blocked him because he's pretending these evasive assholes are somehow credible. And this is the game they're playing with him. Did I do that to you, JPG guy? Did I sit there and patronize you? No, I didn't. Okay, it's cool if you don't know. It's just me taking the opportunity to gauge what people generally do and don't understand about about this kind of experiment. So again, this kind of experiment. Again, if we go by your physics, measuring distance is how you measure energy. That's your work equation, remember? Work equals force times distance. So just measure your distance and you'll know how much energy there is. That's your moron theory. Anyway, that's the one you're defending. The Puro theory. Yeah. All right. I will await your reply. So he's giving the JPG guy a test, okay, instead of just answering the question. The question that should have been explained in the video. Let's just understand he's proving something rather dramatic. Okay, and yet he doesn't feel he has any obligation at all to show the experiment that proves. All right. I'll await your reply before explaining Gary's misunderstanding. Oh, great. Thank you. He really shouldn't be trying to do physics with this level of knowledge he has. So this is just more wasted time. Okay, you think I'm a bad physicist. Fine. You don't say it 15 different ways. It's just a waste of everybody's time. At least he shouldn't be trying to pontificate about it as arrogantly as he does. Well, I'm right, you're wrong is the simple truth here, brozo. Okay, your experiments have absolutely sucked. The theory behind them has sucked. You've done them poorly. Again, why did you use a stick for the kinetic energy experiment? Where you sat there and used a stick when every other experiment you've done or seen, you're using big, heavy objects. Why, when you're testing some other substance, did all of a sudden sticks became the way you measure? Okay, it's okay not to know, but so he just keeps badgering him. But it's not okay for people like him to endlessly pretend they know almost everything and declare on a daily basis everyone else is stupid. You're stupid if you think there's free will. The whole idea of a free anything is stupid. Nothing in the universe is free. Everything is bound by the country it's in. Everything's bound by the universe, the place in the universe it's in. Everything is restrained. Nothing is free, moron. When it is, in fact, him. Well, whatever this mush was. Okay, let's see what Richie says to this crap. I do not know. Okay, so that's his answer. Okay, so he pretends that he can't figure it out. Okay, well, let's just play along. But I would like you to debunk what he claimed in the clip, that somehow your experiment proved him right. Huh? Yeah, well, the experiment proves the point, which is the faster train is losing more energy when you use a generator, because a generator applies a counter force equal to the force you're applying to it. I linked to the above at the timestamps I linked to. Also, I do not get what he says about kinetic paradox or free energy. So he's still saying he doesn't get it, which does anybody in the audience not get it? And they don't get how free energy is a paradox. In everyone's current understanding of the universe, free energy is a paradox because we can't find a single thing in the universe that runs on it. Nothing, I mean, even the stuff that perpetually flies through space doesn't go faster and faster and faster and faster. They can't accelerate out of nothing. There has to be a cause for the acceleration. Professor Lewin did an experiment where something is clearly accelerating. It has more energy. Okay, yes, the velocity is technically slower, but the mass is twice as much. So there's more energy in the object. If it hits you in the face, if the 100, okay, momentum, the fast 1/2 weight car hits you in the face, or the 2 weight car going 2/3 the velocity hits you in the face, you're going to feel the difference because one is going to punch you harder. Okay, and you don't understand how that's a paradox because you made that extra punch out of nothing. You didn't consume any energy to have more energy, and you don't understand how it's a paradox. All right, anyway. And my failure to get it led him to blocking me. Yes, I'm sorry. You really are too stupid. It's just sorry. If you're honestly saying you still can't understand, you're just too stupid to be in any way involved in any of this because these are physics arguments and they require a little bit of, you got to have some knowledge of the fact that free energy is anti-physics. All right, so more crap. He posts the same time code. Oh, this is just such a waste of time, Gary. Oh, here we go. So this ought to be fun. Well, regarding the KE paradox, well, this ought to be good, right? He's going to answer the paradox. Some claims are so silly, I confess I barely pay any attention to them. So when Professor Lewin says momentum has to be conserved, you can't finagle with momentum. That's his exact words. Kinetic energy, yeah, you can finagle. Can't finagle with nature, can't finagle with momentum. He thinks that's silly talk, but he won't tell Professor Lewin that because he's a coward. Like flat earth, I guess. Some more nonsense. But Jerry Hall has left a mathematical proof. Okay, so here Stephen Bro concedes he doesn't know shit about math. He can't do math. He can't even, math, even multiplication bugs him. And yet he knows what a mathematical proof is. He knows he can tell the difference between one that's a good proof and a bad proof. He can tell the difference. And so he's all about doing experiments and show me. But no, when it's a point I want to make, I'll just resort to Jerry and his math. I'll let the math take care of it. So Stephen Bro thinks that because mathematically you can put a minus sign, and you can. There's no rule against it. You're not, you can just say that going left is minus. Okay, so I'm going to throw rocks. Okay, I'm going to throw one left. Okay, there, left. That's a minus rock. Okay, and I threw one right. That's a plus rock. Oh, when I add up the rocks, there's 0 rocks. So he actually thinks this is rational mathematics. That this is a rational interpretation of the reality. So I throw a rock left, I throw a rock right, and it means I didn't throw any rocks. Because that one went right? It has a minus sign. Minus, plus, cancel, cancel. Hey, 0 rocks were thrown. No problem. Too fucking stupid. So the mathematical proof doesn't take care of the problem, the physical problem. So Stephen Bro he doesn't understand what a paradox is. He doesn't understand that the Professor Lewin experiment, taken to its logical, just take it a step further, you have a box. Okay, the magical box made 116 momentums out of 100. You put 100 in, you put a dollar bill in, you got $1.16 out. You just put another box in front of it. You put the $1.16 in, and you get $1.58 back. And then you put that into the box again at $1.58, and you get $2.37 back. You're too stupid to understand that's free energy. Okay. All right, well, anyway. All right, so he claims that this math takes care of it in a comment 13 hours ago at the time of this writing. So he thinks the mathematical proof takes care of the problem. When, of course, it doesn't. It just puts minus signs on real energy. Something real going somewhere is called a minus energy. No, it's not a minus energy. I don't know why you would think there's such a thing as a minus energy. Do you, Stephen Bro, you're really stupid enough to think there's such a thing as a minus energy? Anyway, all right. Anyway, math isn't my strong suit. So, but you know that it's a good proof. How do you know that? But you're going to endorse it anyway. You're such a duplicitous asshole. I mean, this is just such garbage for you to rely on a mathematical proof when you don't do math. That's just so fucking lame. God damn. So I will have to wedge matchsticks under my eyes, even though it looks pretty simple. My brain wants to shut down. He just keeps talking about how much he doesn't like math, and he already just endorsed it. I suggest if someone could put in the ultra simple video form so the comment doesn't get lost, it would be helpful to people like me. They can't put it in video form, in editor form, and I just did it. They're just saying that the cart going the opposite way undoes the extra momentum you sent the other way. Extra momentum went this way. Because you sent a cart going this way, you undid that extra momentum that way. That's what their math says, you idiot. Do you think that's reasonable? God, you're so stupid. Anyway, I suggest, okay, blah, blah, blah. But perhaps I just need to grow up and get a pen and paper out and do it myself. Why would you bother? Do you really think putting minus signs on real energy makes any sense? You're just trying to say, how much did the spaceship move? Okay, the spaceship doesn't go anywhere in terms of turning it, right? But you do understand that you really did have a force that went that way, and it really did have a force going that way. You did zig and zag before you went back to being straight again. And that there's no parallel here in the sense that you're not navigating, okay? You're just making things move. And you've made two things move, and one of them has more energy than you started with going in a direction. How can you deny it has more energy going in a direction? It's twice as massive and it's going 3/4 the speed. That's more momentum. You definitely have more momentum going this way. The fact that you have 1/3 of the momentum going that way, how the hell can that possibly undo the extra momentum you have going that way? I mean, you're not too stupid to figure this out. Well, you can't be honest enough for a moment to figure it out. That's your problem. So let's see if we get I mean, we're still waiting to see if he'll answer the simple question. Yeah, that's one claim that has always seemed so silly. My brain has a second reason for not wanting to. So he thinks it's silly, although he didn't do the math. Okay, so he doesn't even understand the math that's supposed to explain why going this way undoes going that way. Okay, so I don't see how it could possibly do that. But, okay, fine. I mean, we could use a car example, right? You have a car, and it's going 100 miles an hour. I make it go... Well, see, I can't use the same... Well, I can in the same sense that it's the same momentum, you know. And you're just saying that you're creating something going forward that has more momentum. It's 116 momentums now going forward. Because the trunk fell off and hit somebody in the face, who cares? How does that undo the forward momentum? Anyway. Second reason is not wanting to devote any more attention to it than necessary. He writes all of this crap and then talks about how he doesn't want to devote attention to anything. Amazing. To me, it means it deserves practically nil attention. So the fact that Professor Lewin created a free energy mechanism should be of no interest to anybody. He's saying this isn't an interesting subject at all. Free energy isn't interesting. Ah, okay. Like if someone claimed to be able to perform genuine acts of telekinesis. I didn't claim to be able to do that. So again, let's understand, this is a Professor Lewin video. You know, it would be really great if he would just play the clip of Professor Lewin doing the experiment and explain it to us. Why don't you explain it to us? If it's so uninteresting, why don't you explain how it makes perfectly good sense that you have extra momentum going in a direction and you have absolutely no source of the energy for it? Which famously a professor such like from Lawrence Livermore Lab tried to claim so now he's off on a whole different kooky subject. Okay, so this has something to do with some religious kook, which James Randi, blah, blah. So he's back on this Randi subject. Very nice for atheists and such. Let's just understand. I mean, Amazing Randy's another guy who doesn't believe in free will. Newsflash. Anyway, even I can do that trick. Okay. Back to the subject, I hope. Okay, on to the matter of Gary thinking he observed evidence that the generator or wheel experiment that suggests there cannot be any extra kinetic energy in the faster, lighter can't instant. I don't know what that means. Anyway, because it's traveled anything like twice the distance. Because it doesn't travel anything like twice the distance. Yes. Well, no, it doesn't. There you go. Okay, so it's a decisive proof. By your theory, the fact that it didn't travel twice the distance is everything. Distance is all you people care about. Well, it didn't go twice the distance, didn't go further in the clay. So obviously, generators are, not doing what clay does. See, that's the funny part, almost the ironic part, right? Because generators are kind of an honest measurement because they take proportional to the energy you apply. So you apply more energy in a specific amount of time, the generator takes it. Okay, unlike brake pads. Because unlike most of the other experiments he had me doing, I didn't have you doing any of these experiments, so that's just such a lie. Okay, so that's just such a fucking... You'll never find a video where I said, hey, Steven, could you please do these experiments? Fuck that. Okay, right, as soon as we knew how bad you're going to do experiments, I didn't ask you to do any more. Okay, Lenz's law is invoked in this one. So again, this isn't... You don't even have to go as far as Lenz's law. You just go for the simple statement that the generator will take the extra energy. It'll take more energy. Very briefly for now, Lenz's law just means that more electricity we generate with this kind of generator, the harder it becomes to turn. It's not that it becomes harder to turn, you're losing your energy. You're giving away your energy. So again, it's just another fake way of understanding the transfer. You're transferring your energy. You're giving it to something else. Giving it to something else, you lose it. Because the current we are generating has its own magnetism, which always opposes the motion. Yes, it's the opposite magnetic field. Ha ha. Jeez. It turns to stop it turning. It tries to stop it turning. So none of that happens. This is all human-centric kind of terminology. It's not trying to do any such thing. It's called the Lenz's law brake effect, or induction braking. So again, it's not really braking, it's taking. It's taking the energy. So the faster, lighter car, lighting the bulb more, means more current is flowing through the generator. So it's just as I pointed out. It's the bowling pin argument. The faster thing gives more energy to the bowling pin. It's just a fact. The velocity allows it to give more energy. To give energy, that means you have to give away what you have. You can't give away something else. So if your ball is only 8 pounds, you're giving away a lot of the high percentage of the total energy you have. If you weigh 16 pounds, you're giving away less. So in hitting the first pin, the 16-pound ball going 8 miles an hour only gives away a quarter of its energy, where the 8-pound ball going 16 miles an hour gives away half of its energy with the first pin. And the same thing happened in this experiment. Okay, and the bulb circuit and the heavier, slower cart lighting the bulb less, making less current. Yeah, transferring less of its momentum. That's simple. And that's exactly what I said 2 weeks ago. Well, more current in the faster, lighter case means more magnetic braking is applied, whether we like it or not. I don't know what this, whether we like it or not crap is in there for. It's not breaking, it's taking. So again, just more nonsense where these people really don't understand that these are energy transfers. Friction is not an opposing force. Friction is you giving your energy to little bits of matter. If that doesn't happen, then we really would have a paradox, because it wouldn't be any harder to generate a lot of electricity than a little. I'm not even sure. I mean, obviously you can't go faster than something's going fast. So again, speed is obviously connected, and you're the one denying that. Then how fast you're going, that your velocity is a component of your momentum, an important one, but it's not squared. You're not demonstrating the squared value. You're supposed to have twice as much energy. So why shouldn't you produce twice as much electricity without it slowing you down much? So your argument still fails. All right, Lenz's law is what makes us pay. Okay, so this is more bullshit. With sweat and toil for coal, gas, oil, wind to turn that generator. I mean, obviously we pay less for some and more for others, and there's not much sweat involved anymore. Clearly, we have machines to do that. It is frequently used as a braking system for things such as fairground rides. Yeah, it's used for cars now too. Conservational braking. I mean, where they just take the energy back going downhill. So this is just more crap, and it's all something I already said 2 weeks ago. All right, so just totally irrelevant to the point of your experiment and what it proves. You didn't prove it has twice as much energy. By your own argument here, you're conceding the faster one's going to produce more voltage, more wattage, in less time. But it doesn't prove it has more. It doesn't prove it total energy was more. And the very fact that you're not even giving us the answer to the simple question of when the car stopped is almost a concession that you're not even willing to say that maybe the faster car stopped first. That the braking was so substantial that the faster car stopped short and the heavier car went further. All right, it's more effective at fast speeds where the current is the greatest, and slow speeds the current has less, and there's less. Well, it's not that it's more effective, it's still the same efficiency no matter what. But anyway, so the general real experiment where Gary is pointing to the faster, lighter car failing to travel twice the distance, which we would expect in other experiments that don't involve electromagnetic induction. The disappointing news to him. So there's some disappointing news to him when he already argued that this 2 weeks ago, is that it would travel approximately twice as far if we switch the bulb off. So that's amazing. So you take the load off the generator. The generator can't actually move the electricity anywhere, so it can't absorb any new electricity because it's stuck. You're basically saying the generator's not allowed to collect any more energy. Yeah, duh. So that's why I said so he says switch the bulb off, but he already knows I suggested having a battery or a capacitor. Well, if you have a battery or a capacitor, it's going to do just what the bulb did. It's going to collect the energy. It's just such a lame thing to say. Okay, in fact, I tested. So more tests he did that he doesn't show us. So he's got a whole bunch of experiments he's done that he doesn't show us, because they didn't turn out the way he wanted them to. It's a simple answer. All right. I tested it a short while ago, and sure enough, we can control the distance the car travels to a great extent. We can make it travel the furthest by simply disconnecting the bulb. That's like this, just unplugging the generator, okay? The only thing the generator's doing then is just spinning, okay? But there's no magnetic field. If there's no magnetic field, there's nothing to cause any issues for the generator. It can't produce anything, okay? So, duh. It can't take any energy away from the object. You're disconnecting, it's like a clutch, and you're just disconnecting the clutch, okay? So it's just spinning. It can't, it's not hitting the metal anymore. Duh. Okay. Anyway, all right. We can make it travel farthest by simply disconnecting the bulb, so there's no induction braking effect, and we can also make it stop a lot sooner than any of the examples I showed. If you didn't show any examples, I mean, it's amazing that he would even say this, that I showed. You didn't show any examples. We couldn't see the carts, idiot. Okay, if we simply short circuit the generator output because that causes maximum current to flow more than would flow, yeah, it also burn out your generator pretty quick. Hence, maximum induction braking effect. Alright, so we just turn it into heat, just a short circuit. So, and even that might even be a good experiment because you could watch the glow, yeah, the glow of your generator wires might be another way of indicating how much energy you're using. I don't know whether I need to add anything to or explain it better. I'm half asleep. He's always got excuses. I can't make any excuses. I can never be tired or make a mistake. I can never do any of these things. But he can just go on and on about how beleaguered he is. All right. Anyway, I'll explain in as much detail as you want a bit later. So there's no detail. The detail isn't about how. The simple point is, does the generator pull more energy out of the faster car in a shorter amount of time? And the fact is, yes, it does. Oh, shit. But now you have to explain how your experiment proves the total energy is the same. I mean, the faster car has twice as much energy. You claimed you know this fact, and yet you pretended that you didn't know it because you're basically arguing, see, it's brighter, therefore it must have more energy. When you know it didn't have to have more energy, it just has to be going faster. So, too stupid. Too stupid. I mean, it's an obvious too stupid. He knows this and he just didn't bother to tell anybody that, and he certainly didn't give us enough of a video where that context would have been obvious. Alright. I mean, this is so dishonest. Alright. Half is whatever. I'll explain in detail if you want a bit later, and some great physics demonstrations of it pretty much ready to upload if seeing it happen helps. So again, he says he has demonstrations. He's always talking about this stuff he's got ready to upload, and I never get to see any of it. All I see is these crappy, fucking goofy clown videos he keeps making with his circus music. Shit. I'll go to bed and add any detail if needed when my brain is functioning a bit better. Well, it's never going to happen. You can wish for a brain, but like Dorothy, you're never going home. None of the experiments seem to work out exactly double the distance, except the other earlier generator on wheels example where I simply generate DC impulse charging a capacitor measured on a meter. So this is a reference to one of his early experiments that couldn't be understood by anybody. Nobody knew what the hell he did. He shoved objects into some sort of machine thing, and the needle went like this. But there was absolutely no explanation of what the fuck he was doing. And certainly no proof, okay, that he was showing that lighter things have more energy. Anyway, which were identical meters despite what Gary protested. I never protested they weren't the same meter, or that was the issue. I protested we couldn't even see what the fuck you were doing. There was no way of even measuring or analyzing it, because you gave you just flashed it on the screen, flashed it off the screen. I mean, there's nothing to see here. Oh, you're such a fucking phony. Except the other earlier generator on wheels example where I simply generate... Okay, we already did that. Which is identical. Protested at the time because his eyes are so bad. Oh, fuck you. Yes, they looked a little different, but I even swapped them around to ensure I got the same results. Yeah, well, you didn't say any of this. You don't explain anything. So why shouldn't somebody... You're just going to flash, again, hat, rabbit. Hat, rabbit. There. And now that's it. That's the trick. No, that's just bullshit, asshole. Okay. He really does just make up any objection regardless of actual evidence. There is no actual evidence. So anybody honest has to concede there's no context to any of Stephen Bro's experiments, in the sense that he doesn't get to the parts that matter. Even when he went into all this minutia of showing you, I'm going to do the same experiment 43 times, and so I'll video that. But did he video compressing the spring and showing us how much the spring is compressed? No. Didn't bother with that. The important facts he couldn't care less detailing. The unimportant he loves just going on and on and on. And he calls that being thorough. He calls that being a scientist. And that's being exactly what he is. A circus performer. A clown. Okay. What's measured exactly double the meter. Let's see. I seem to recall Gary objecting to me charging a capacitor and measuring the discharge rate through the meter. Never happened. So I don't even know what he's talking about. I never even saw a capacitor. Never even saw you charge a capacitor. Such a pile of crap. Now he's recommending it. I don't know. After I implemented his idea of light bulbs, that means it wasn't my idea. I was just giving an analogy to light. I talked about lighting New York City. I talked about different things, okay? I'm talking about the energy, collecting the energy. Obviously, it's an obvious way for you to understand something has more energy. If there's one light bulb and it lights 2 light bulbs, well, that's more energy. It's kind of easy to see. I didn't make any, specifications that the only way you test is by lighting light bulbs. I've already made it clear to you. I don't like sideways ways of doing something, like putting audio tones on radar to detect their existence. Yeah, I don't like that kind of horse shit. So I'd rather you just collect the wattage, okay, and store it in a battery. Okay, I hope that's a bit clearer anyhow. I mean, what a pile of crap. You might enjoy some of the demonstrations. Lenz's law is very important law. Gary says it's not a very good law. I'm saying your whole idea that there's a current being created inside of the substance, I'm saying that's not good theory. That's not what's... The atoms aren't really doing that. The atoms are... Your current needs a location, and that's the whole problem with creating it. What's happening is atoms are being ionized. And that's the real important part. Okay, so they're changing. The atoms change their state. And by changing their state, they become magnetic. They become aligned. They're shaped the same. Yeah, they're exposing the world to the same thing. The electron is here in front of the proton. The electron is not in front of the proton. These are different configurations. And the different configurations mean you're creating a field effect, a reflection to the world. This reflection is different than this reflection. That's my argument. And he guesses a totally different explanation for it anyhow. So again, more of this guessing. Yeah, that's all we have on this planet is guessing, if you want to call it that. It's also called thinking. Guessing and thinking, they're really synonyms, idiot. Let's see. LL has been especially long and difficult conversation with the human turnip. Oh, okay. Well, you're going to eat all this crap, these stupid little, this wasted time bullshit. Okay? I wish you were as benign as a turnip. You're shit. Okay? You got a shit for brain. All right. A couple of interesting related clips. DraftScience and physics of technical difficulties. Oh, so that's so important. The little mistakes I make are so important. All right, and then the mindless marbles argument, which is, again, just complete bullshit. There's nothing in his video demonstrating how your experiment was a proof of total energy, right? So, no, of course it wasn't. So, just too stupid. All right, so he claims, let's see, although we'll do the Jerry Hall one, then we'll bail. Okay, he claims that 2/3 is 16%. No, 2/3 is 16% more momentum when you're expecting 1/2. Professor Lewin clearly argues, okay, I played the clip over and over, really, right? 1/2. You're expecting 1/2 and you get 2/3. Well, that's 16% more than you expected. 2/3 is 16% more than 1/2. Maybe he doesn't understand that Lewin's experiment was showing time, not velocity. Complete bullshit. He was clearly showing velocity. He was measuring how long it takes for something to move to measure its velocity. This is too idiotic. The longer the time, the slower the velocity. How could this make any sense to anybody? The small car is bouncing back with 1/3 the initial speed. Yes. Where did that energy come from? Big cart is 2/3 the speed, which is a lot more than 1/2, which it should have. And it's not a big cart. It's twice the mass. Twice the mass, which means if it's going better than half the speed, that's more momentum. Too stupid. The big cart has twice the mass. Yeah, exactly. MV divided by 3 plus 4 MV divided by 3. I don't know exactly what that could, who cares? Couldn't mean anything. And you get the MV you started with. So again, just playing the game that somehow I can pretend, okay, that this way undoes that way. All you have to do, a bullet's coming right for you, shoot another bullet. And the bullet stops coming at you. No problem. You undid it. Yeah, I don't think you did. And you get the MV you started with. It's just too stupid, which is expected in an elastic collision. So there's no MV you started with here. You started with 100 going one way. You have 116 going this way. And you have 33 going that way. So you have 149 total. You went in with 100 and you have 149 after. That's the fact. Fact. Yeah, let's see. Oh, I should stop. His latest is pretty funny. So this is 4 days ago. So who knows what video he's talking about. At the end, when he proclaims how everyone should bow down before him in his imagination as he is proven right by his simulation. No, all I did was indicate the simulation is now working and it's only going to get better and better. And I mean, I was working before, though, don't get me wrong. It's just hard to duplicate a universe. The real universe is billions of little particles hitting little tiny things and moving them around. So getting that simulation, that is finding a parallel to it and doing it without having to throw in any gimmicks, isn't that easy. And so with no gimmicks, with as raw mathematics as you could make, I have it working. And so that's a pretty good milestone. All right, and it's going to demonstrate that this simple theory works. And then you're going to have to explain it's just a coincidence. It's just a coincidence that my simulation is going to be able to do all of what your theories do, your bent space and your quantum mechanics and your entanglement and your superposition, all without all of those things. Just with a simple little 3 little rules about how interactions take place. All right, and a very simulation he is showing shows no particles separating. The fact that they are separated is showing them separating. They don't separate because they don't get close to each other, but clearly they do separate. But anyway, oh, shows 2 particles separating. Yeah, well, of course, that's the balance of the energy. They don't just crash into atoms. Aren't indestructible. So the fact is they do fall apart. Now, mine fall apart really easily, but that'll be fixed once all of the balance of the forces is created. They're not balanced yet. So yeah, they're more unstable than normal atoms. Okay, big deal. All right, imagine the chaos of living in Gary's gravity. So just imagine the gravity is exactly the same as Einstein's in the sense it's the same as Newton's. Gravity is just the inverse square law. It's just understanding there's a sphere and the sphere has energy moving towards its center. That's gravity. There's no other gravity. Everybody's gravity has to do that. Him reading and responding to comments started around, let's see, 6:45 is funny as always. Well, there won't be explanation for how it's in any way funny and how you responded to any of it. So I haven't seen anybody play it and respond to it. So I haven't seen any of you cowards do what I do. But whatever. So enough of this. So this is the one, yeah, the little thing on free will. Imagine how different things would have been had he simply acknowledged that he didn't understand how the speed of light worked when Pyrrho corrected him. So this is just more horseshit. They're the ones who don't understand how the speed of light, how light itself even works. They think a light clock is even possible. I thought a light clock was possible at one time, but when you realize that what's happening on the surface, as the surface is moving very fast, even if you send photons over here, they'll hit the surface. Okay, as soon as you start moving the surface really fast, the photon, the frequency, will be spread over so much surface that there's no way the photon could be a photon anymore because you broke the polarization. There's no idea of polarization of light anymore when the surface is moving really fast. You lose the shape of the light because one piece hits way over here and one piece hits way over there and the other piece is way over there. No chance. So you can't bounce light off very fast moving surfaces. Alright, but anyway, that's the part you don't understand. Okay, that's right. Gary also denies free will, so that's the funny line, right? When I saw that, I just said, what the fuck? And the butterfly effect, whatever the fuck, that he actually thinks I deny the fact that every little action can have lots of implications. I've made whole videos about how, everything you say and everything you do has consequences. So I'm certainly a consequentialist. That's just too idiotic to say I don't believe that butterflies flap their wings because God did it. Yeah, shithead. Yeah, I don't believe that. Oh, man. What an idiot. Let's just see if the free will thing. Even when someone is agreeing with him, making innocent statements that not all physicists is intuitive, he can't just agree and move on. I don't know what he's referencing there. He has to omit the word not so he can argue over it. So where's this? Where's the example of this? He's like, so again, more Monty Python connections. I mean, it's just such a waste of time. You can't get, so was there a point there? No. Did he give an example? No. Is there any way to understand what he's talking about? No. Just a waste of time. So anyway, so this was sort of a waste of time. Unfortunately, there was less physics here than I was hoping I could make. But the generator thing is important. And the whole idea of, I'm trying to think of the word they use for when you brake using a generator for a car. Regenerative braking. So you can get all your energy back going down hills, using the generator to slow you down and just putting the energy back in your battery. I think this always should have been a thing on cars, just because your car battery, does steal some energy from your engine, to run the alternator. And you could just recharge your battery by taking advantage of going down a hill and putting a little extra pressure on the drive wheel. But anyway, it's probably a little too expensive, I guess. It really shouldn't be that expensive. I had one on my bicycle, essentially, when I was a kid. I delivered newspapers, and I tried to do it on a bicycle for a while, which was really stupid, actually, because I crashed a couple of times. It really hurt. Because I had like 40 pounds of, newspapers strapped to my neck. And you're very wobbly on a bicycle with all that weight. You have to balance it. So anyway, it didn't really work very well. But I was, I delivered newspapers, and it would take me 2 hours. Once a week I had to collect the fund money, and so it's always in the winter. It got dark before I finished delivering the papers, so I had a light on the bike, a generator light, and you'd feel it. I mean, you could feel this light is a lot of work. I mean, to get light out of the light, you had to, you could feel like not having the light on was such a relief to ride the bicycle because, it's so much less drag. And I had to go up and down a lot of hills, and that was the other part of it. So, it was just, so anyway, so I already understood generators. You got to give them the electricity. It comes out of you. Okay, it's kind of obvious that you're going to have to do the work to make the light. So anyway, it's just I mean, this is we just let's listen.
Hertz signals on top
Ding
of
ding
each
ding!
other.
All this. Why does he have to put this rinky-dink, crappy shit on top of it? It's like somebody's insisting on putting rap music behind something or something. Why do you think everybody has your musical taste? I really don't like circus music. It doesn't appeal to me at all. It's like my least kazoo music, rinky-dink. I hate that. That's noise to me. It's just noise you're making. I mean, why don't you talk about your hoes and your sluts and your, all that. You think I want that in the background, you fucking retard? God, you're too stupid. I mean, even rappers are smarter than you. I think. I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen the rapper guy who's making physics videos, but maybe he's going to put a bunch of rap crap behind his physics video. I don't know. Whatever. I don't just all evidence that I'm on a planet way under. We haven't come close to evolving. I mean, we shouldn't even be allowed to use the word evolve. You're such fucking bugs. Ugh. So anyway, enough of a video. That was a mistake. Ugh. Just didn't. Just a waste of time. Anyway, till the next time and such and so forth and whatnot. Blah, 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 blah.